Welcome back. Another episode of Adventures in Adversity, guys. We are here with episode 92. 92. And I am so grateful for many, many reasons. We have two very special guests today, Mason and Cameron. There you go. Oh, that was on cue. Wow.
We hang out way too often.
You just kind of
We
have a
practice
company
this before.
together.
That's what we were doing before you came in. We were like, all right, 1, 2.
We were practicing.
We've been playing for days.
That's awesome. Well, as you can see, they are quite connected, both, I think, mentally as well as officially as co-founders of what you see right there, that beautiful, sparkling kombucha tea, Divini.
Divini, yeah.
So many questions for you guys, but first of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be on the show.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Well, and of course, I have to give a shout out now to Jack, who brought us together, my producer, right? Who is now smiling as he's editing this, going, yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
He produces the show for me, makes me look cool. And also, you guys are friends with Jack. And we've also had a friend of yours and an employee, Miranda, on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Miranda's awesome.
Miranda's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm grateful to be introduced to you guys, to Miranda, to just awesome quality people. So, and it's a bonus when you want to come on the show. I want to start out by calling out the fact that you guys have sponsored the show, which means you are supportive of people sharing real stories about how they're getting through adversity. And so thank you. Thank you for that. It means the world to me as my first sponsor. And I want you guys to look in the show notes. You can click over to the Divini website, place some orders with my checkout code, Brienne10, right? Discount. Gotta plug it. I'll do that a couple times.
Let's go.
This is the part where I stop talking. Guys, when you hear the word adversity, what do you think of in your life?
Wow. I probably think most of I feel like adversity comes in like multiple stages. You have like your everyday adversity that whether we're like working through a concept or we have our production run going on, stuff breaks, you have to fix things. So you have like the everyday fires you're trying to put out. And then you have like kind of like your yearly or like quarterly adversity where it's like, okay, well, we're trying to get to this spot. We're here now. There's like a lot of like fuzz about how to get there. So it's like, how do you move there? Right. And then you have like the big picture adversity where you're like, okay, well, we're our own separate people. We got into this quite randomly, honestly, and we can go through the stories of how we got into this. So then we're also trying to like figure out our own lives through this venture, which I feel like is the coolest setup, speaking for both of us, where we both kind of use this product to figure out ourselves as well. So it's been like a personal conquest through a business, through a product that we've kind of both come together on. And I think that's where we aligned on first. And then everything else is, on the basis of like, we wanted to do something amazing in this world. And we were both on that same wavelength. And I think it just came together to where this was the opportunity that I was working on and Cameron was introduced on. And we were just like, all right, let's just full send this as far as we can go.
Go for it. No.
And then like, I would say that this has brought a lot of opportunities to test our adversity. Like, as he said, like, this has changed us and shaped us and made us who we are, our whole product and everything. And I think like you don't really know how much you could take till you get thrown into the fire. You know what I mean? And then you have to walk through that fire and just like put a blindfold on and just pretend like you love it.
I'm laughing because I feel that I can relate to that, where you're just like excited, but you're like, wow, this is intense, right? So that was a very big question, but I always like to hear like, and I throw that out sometimes to see like just what comes to mind for people. And it really, what I love about your product and like your company is the name. And so take me through the name, what it means, and then we'll just like get into Divini and all basically like how you're getting through the adversity of building Divini, and then any adversity stories from your personal life you'd like to share. But let's just start with the name. Talk about Divini. Like, what does it mean and how did you come up with it?
Yeah, Divini came from so I originally this beverage was a homebrew. So I had found a recipe off a close friend, and it was on one of those moments where like we had a bunch of people over. There was like 20 people, and this couple, Dylan and McKenna, my close friends, were having everyone over, and we were like, all right, we're gonna do like a big home cooked meal, like family style. And she's very holistic. She is like from scratch kitchen, and we were like, she doesn't buy any kind of drinks from the grocery store. So she was like, all right, I'm going to homebrew. I have this tea that I brew and I'm gonna serve it to everyone, instead of like cocktails or anything else.
Okay.
So poured it up. I tried it and I was like, oh my God, this is like amazing. Like previously, I really only drink water and sparkling water. Like I didn't even really drink kombucha at all. But I had like gut health was a big part of my life. I had a lot of gut issues. I had a lot of acne, like skin issues, things that were correlating that I didn't really know prior to getting into this research and everything of what was causing it. And so I was kind of cautious to drinks in general. And it had this, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it tastes like a soda. It's sweet. It tastes healthy, and I feel like I can consume a lot of it and feel good, which I hadn't really found from a drink before. So that really excited me. So I was almost like, oh, this is like a elevated tea, like a specialty, like a divine tea. And I was like trying to go through, how do I name this product? And my background is Italian, so I looked up, foreign translations. That's usually a good place to start when you're trying to trademark a product. And Divini means divine in Italian. So I was like, oh, that rolls off the tongue nicely. So we'll just do that.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Sorry, I glitched right there a little bit. You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. There was a little like delay. I was like, wait, wait. Uh, no, I love it for so many reasons. I love the way it sounds, Divini. Like you said, it rolls off your tongue. I love the story on your Instagram. I've seen a couple reels of that where you were like testing it out, and like when you were telling that story, it seems like I could imagine you like that first sip moment where you're like, shit, did like a company just get born in your mind? Like,
Yeah.
did it feel like a moment? Or like, wait a second, this
Yeah.
sip might change my life?
Yeah. It kind of felt like, because I was already in a very experimental part of my life. Like I was just out of college. I had a great job out of college, where I was very heavily involved in like business acquisitions, banking, like a lot of financials and around business owners. And my family background's in entrepreneurship. My parents had a clothing company for almost 30 years. And so I grew up in a household. I was already kind of accustomed to like what this life kind of entailed, like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, you just go through it as a family, especially when you're running a business. So I kind of saw that up front and saw it was all about risk and reward. And so I understand early in life, like I was kind of pushed, and I had some close friends that really like got me over that edge where it's like, oh, I really want to take big risks and try to do something great, when I have the energy and the opportunity and don't really have family obligations and things that were, kind of hinder that, or at least make those decisions a little harder, a little more calculated. So I think that was a big part. And yeah, I mean, I love cooking. I love creating things, experimenting with food and beverage, and I love health. So I was already kind of looking into kind of something in the health space.
Sure.
Previously, before this, I'd fully designed like a farm to table restaurant, done renderings and everything, and I was talking to restaurant owners and seeing if like yeah, I could go that route. Restaurants are a big thing to get into. A lot of capital, a lot of money, and a lot of experience. You need to like sous chefs and land and the infrastructure. So when I tried this, I was like, oh, this would be like something pretty easy barrier to entry. And so I just started brewing it. I had a half gallon of kombucha, this honey kombucha that I was brewing. And basically, it's when you homebrew it, it's about a 4-week cycle. So you basically ferment it for about 20 days. And then I would transfer that base ferment, that kind of honey tea fermented into like a fruit concentrate. So I would mix like blueberries and apple and cinnamon and whatever flavors you want into another jar. And then you basically get this finished liquid that I would bottle. So I started like just winning through those processes. I would grow batches, I would test it. And it really got super out of hand very quickly. I started,
Everywhere.
no, like
Huh.
I was living with my buddy Ryan at the time. Ryan was a big inspiration for me because he was in entrepreneurship and he didn't go to college and decided to pursue a company, and he's still doing it to this day. So I was living with him at the time, which was amazing. When you go through adversity, I feel like it's best to do it with people that are going to really help you and like really speak life into you and give you opportunities to justify what you're doing and not be like, you're crazy. Go get a job.
On the road with you.
Yeah, 100%. No, it has to be, you need a lot of support. And I felt I had a lot of support when I started, which was a blessing. And so, yeah, I ordered a bunch of bottles. I ended up ordering like 2,000 bottles from overseas, these glass bottles that I just kept next to my bed because I didn't have space. And then I had, these glass jars that I had like one, 3-gallon jar. Then I got another one and another one. Then I had 6. and I used those for the infusions. And then and then I got like an 18-gallon vat, and then I got 2 more. And then at one point I was doing like 40-gallon batches. And then I was like, well, now I need somewhere to put it. So then I bought a fridge, and then I bought another fridge. And then next thing you know, I had, 40 gallons of like this brew cycling in my kitchen. And I would work all day. I would get home at night at like 6 p.m. And then I would just brew and ferment different stages of the process for the next 4 hours till 10, go to bed, wake up at 7, go to work, come back, brew more. And I did that for 8 months straight. And it got to the point where I was like, dang, I started to, just give product to everyone. I had like a good online order system going. We were doing like a couple $100 a month, nothing crazy, and just like getting some consistent customers. And I was like, oh, like I might actually be able to scale this. Like, what if I, got this product facility space, and like, do I open up a commissary kitchen now? So like, you kind of just like start the cycle, and then you realize, there's things that will come up that you just won't get to unless you just start. And at that point, it was like August of 24, then it got to, or August 23, then it got to like February 24. And I was already kind of like at a point where I was like, I've saved up enough money where I could quit my job and, take a couple months to really think this through and go into another cycle. So I did that. And then I realized commissary space, like I'm not a brewer. I wasn't fully confident that I was capable of like doing these big batches and getting machinery. But all while I was doing that, I was meeting with a lot of like local beer owners, like craft brewery owners. I would just get a meeting and talk to owners about how they scaled the brewery and like what all the vats were, and understanding canning lines and ingredient sourcing and all that. And then I was lucky enough to find a partnership in Arizona with a company that wanted to take me in and produce my batch for me. I had the recipe, and they're like, oh yeah, we could easily do that. So I started with about 2,400 cans. And we just started that. And that's right when I met Cameron, in, what was that, September of 25. So about like a year and a half ago. So that's when I had my first batch. And then we produced another 5,600 cans. And now we kind of redesigned our whole brand based off everything we learned the past year. And now we're launching almost 30,000 cans next week. And we just secured a Sprouts contract. And we have meetings with Safeway, Albertsons, Bashas', AJ's, a bunch of retailers in towns. It's crazy how you just start off like one recipe and you end up just creating this entire lifeline.
I just got chills. Congratulations. That's so badass.
Thank you.
And it's really to build that from just the way you took us through it, and shows like the steps of just one phase at a time, right? And tell me, the lovely gentleman sitting to your left, how did you guys meet? Like, what was where did you meet? How did you meet?
Well, okay, so I was I've been doing I'm like the crazy weird Albert Einstein dude that was out there doing photography and videography.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do.
Awesome.
And I've been invited to so many random like client lists and so many random things. And so I was in the boat of just like I took everything,
Like, sure.
And and at the time I was like looking for something consistent, and I never really could find it because I'm just doing all these random gigs. I'm doing full-time videography, photography. And then his boy Tyler, which I didn't know him, invited me to do a golf video out on a golf course. And I never even played golf in my entire life or anything. I was like, okay, sweet. Maybe I could learn from these dudes. Maybe I could be out there like to watch or something.
Yeah.
And then I come and Mason's there, and he brings the drink. And, I just think he's kind of just like he's a stoic, I'd say. That's the first impression of Mason.
I love stoic.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And he brought somebody else. I tried the drink, and I was instantly addicted to the drink. So I think at that day, I think I had like 3 or 4. I don't know. You brought it.
You down like 4 on the
it was really good. And I couldn't, and after the shoot and everything, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then he invited me to go to a place called the Canal Club in Scottsdale. I don't know. Are you from here or no?
I lived in Arizona for 9 months in 2005.
Okay.
Back in the
I
day.
don't know if that was there then.
And I was a young pup. I don't know if you guys were born yet.
It's like right in Old Town. There's like a nice hotel, and it's got like a super cool lobby.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, like why are these dudes like these dudes are inviting me to go there? And I was like, okay, but I knew, of Mason doing the drink and everything, so I
We
could
still got
come
it.
there. Yeah. And we talked for a while, and eventually we get to the point where I'm like starting to work with Mason, and I'm like trying to like, cause I was like, I could definitely help this dude out. Like this guy on social media and everything, I could definitely help him out. And then we're working together for a while, but I realized that I definitely could go even farther into that, and that's when we became partners. So yeah.
Amazing. So literally, it was kind of the first sip moment where you were like,
Yeah, it
"Who's
was
this
love at
guy?
first
Who's
sip.
this stoic guy? But holy shit,
Yeah.
this is the best thing I've ever tasted."
It was literally the best thing I ever had.
I love the story. I love the founders' stories. I love hearing, like, the backstory of how you guys got to this moment where you're, getting deals with Sprouts and we're talking to Safeway and you got your cans, like, all of the stuff that led up to this moment, and
Yeah.
it sounds like what I'm hearing a lot of is you guys pushing yourself outside your comfort zone over and over and over
Yeah.
and over.
Yeah, the adversity, you have to continue to test it.
Like, it's pretty would you say entrepreneurship just kind of is adversity? I mean, in a beautiful way?
I mean, entrepreneurship in a nutshell, I feel like is like seeing something in a world that you don't like and you want to change, and then figuring out all the ways that you can make it better. And then let's say you do make it better. Well, that's like half the battle, maybe even like a fifth of the battle. And then the other most of it is, well, now I've created something, like how do I make it easily accessible for people, make it super easy to understand and convert people from what is to what can be. And that's really the hardest challenge, which is like what we're trying to figure out on the daily basis, where it's like, okay, we had a product, it was good. We figured out ways to make it better. We figured out ways to make it more accessible. And then there's like the back end that primarily I work on of how do I make the product? How do I find better suppliers? How do I find better rates? How do I make it at a price point where we can actually like scale it and make it financially possible? Now, how do we get it into stores where people go to and set up those deals? Or how do we provide easy e-commerce at a barrier entry price point where people would actually pay on a regular basis? And then how do we make that more feasible than what other options are? And then there's like the ideology standpoint that Cameron works on a lot, where it's like, okay, cool. How do we, create content and videos and campaigns around like, hey, here's the problem we're trying to solve. Make that an emotional trigger in people's lives where it's like, oh, I struggle with that too. And it's like, okay, well, we have the solution, or we have something better that we want to give you, and to kind of solve that, like, hey, here's what's in the market, here's why it's been a detriment, and here's how we've taken the steps to make it better.
Yeah.
Such a good answer. And go ahead.
I was gonna ask, so you said you've had 93 episodes, correct?
You guys are number 92. So I don't know if
92.
92 means anything to you, but
No,
92.
that's awesome. I was gonna ask, so like out of all the episodes, what is the biggest thing you found out about adversity that you've asked from people?
That's a great question. And if I'm honest, the first thing that comes to my mind, it's when you're going through adversity, get outside of yourself and help people.
Well, I love that.
And I don't know if it's because my last guest on episode 90, John Kippen, who has like facial paralysis and he overcame cancer and now he's like a magician, but he was like, get outside yourself. Like not like deny what you're going through, but almost like take that pain, that adversity, that whatever's going through and like, what can you alchemize it in? So it's kind of like, and then another Sylvie, my really good friend, talks about alchemizing the pain into like, yeah, this sucks, right? Like whatever it is. Like it's not denying that the adversity is there, but like, what can I transform it into?
Yeah. Like
Because
how you can use it for fuel, kind of like that. Yeah.
Well, usually it can be the best fuel,
Yeah.
because then you're at a point to use it to something because you have a reason.
and it's like, it's funny that you asked that because I'm so glad you asked that too, because sometimes I think about I'll flash through every guest. And now you guys are in the Adventures University family officially. So now whenever I have a problem, like a guest will flash into my mind and I'm like, what would Mason and Cameron do? What would Jack say about this? What would Jack's dad say about this? Because what would John say? And I'm like, dude, I can't sit in adversity for that long with all these stories coming at me of how people get through it. You're like, well, they did.
Hmm.
So I can
Mhm.
somehow. right? That's going to lead me into a question. You had mentioned, Mason, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that you had struggled with acne. Do you mind? I guarantee you there's someone that's listening to this that has struggled with or is currently struggling with or has a kid that is struggling with skin issues, or an adult like perimenopause. Hi, had things happen with your skin. Tell me about that, and then tell me about how Divini has helped answer and help that problem.
Yeah, yeah, skin's interesting. And it really hit like because like right during high school, it was really bad. Like I have pictures and stuff when I was playing golf because that's that's why I was on the golf course because most of my career was all in golf before uh, I had a scholarship to play in college and that's how I got myself through college and everything. So, yeah, I have these gnarly pictures. Yeah, my face had acne everywhere, and I which is awesome too because like that was a big personal struggle I had with like running a brand where it's like well, now I'm like the figure, when you have acne, like you don't really want to like
Yeah,
it's such a barrier because when you're talking to someone, you're like they know
totally.
wrong. It's painful and yeah, it's very as a human to have issues, and it's like, and I was someone that I didn't take Accutane, I didn't take any kind of medications to solve what I was going through. I was like, well, there's a reason why my skin is doing this, and and it's not just like something you'd package up because it's like, well, there's a larger issue of what's going on. And for me, and what I've researched and why Divini ties into this is because a lot of it stems down to, your skin's your biggest organ in your body. It's like, and it's all exterior. So anything that's you're struggling with internally is probably gonna, a lot of people have skin issues if they like go out on a night out and like the alcohol and everything cause a lot of inflammation and bacteria in your body, and then it can you can have skin issues like that if you're like excessively drinking all that gluten from like beer and foods. And so I kind of took a second and really started with diet. So I kind of just got away from a lot of inflammatory foods, got back into like, okay, I need to like, let me consume like fruit and, a good source like grass fed meats and like take out all the starchiness and okay, let me switch out like these carbs for like some good like sweet potatoes and vegetables and oils, like, all of the inflammatory oils that are in our food system now. So it's kind of just like stripping out all those filler ingredients and really getting back down to like a base diet. And then probiotics were a big thing I didn't know about that I was starting to research into about how like it's interesting. I found in research like a lot of foreign countries that might not it's crazy how America struggles most in being like one of the most wealthiest countries in the world, and we have the worst food and skin issues. And looking at foreign countries and people in third world countries, and their skin's beautiful, it's like, why is that? And I think a lot of it's like in America, we try to put a bunch of products, on our skin that we don't really know what's in it or the causes, and it irritates it. And so I ended up just stopping everything. I don't do any face wash or any products now. I'm just like, my skin's a living organism. I'm going to nourish it from the inside first. Yeah. Clean my skin, take care of it, but I'm not going to put chemicals on it. And I'm going to let the healing come internally, which was where probiotics come into because those are used to go into your gut and restore your gut lining and help those good bacteria actually be used, which connect to your brain, connect to your skin. So it was cool to get into the Divini product because you're just filling, kombucha as a base is fermented tea. There's loads of probiotics in it, and you can kind
Okay.
of use that as a base. With kombucha, with sauerkraut, with kimchi, with kefir, with all these I think they're just such a no-brainer to put in your everyday diet to, use your gut health, your stomach as your number one vessel for healing the rest of your body, which is kind of the thesis and the base of why we use kombucha as our product for Divini.
So I just learned so much in that segment. That makes so much
Yeah.
sense to me. Like, just the way, because you hear all this, gut health and stuff, and the way that you broke it down, the way that you said, like, you heal. Yeah, you heal it from the inside. It makes perfect sense of, like, it's almost like your skin was telling you, like, "Alert, alert, alert." There's something that's not like, help. Your skin's asking for your help in a way, right? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and I appreciate that you sharing that because I know it's tough too. So did you actually, like, start to see changes in your skin through kombucha?
But yeah, yeah, absolutely. Even after college, like I was still going through some issues, and then yeah, right when I got into fermented foods, and then with Divini, I don't know, I just my skin flourish predominantly, my hair growth, like everything just feels better, and I can very well tell when you just get like such a good compass for your body the more you start like relying on foods and product instead of, chemicals or outside stimulants to solve those problems. And then it's something that like I know I can control because I don't rely on any kind of outside sources to dictate how I look. And then you just get into a routine and then you know what works for you. And it changes for everyone, but I think at a core foundation, I think if anyone's struggling with any of those issues, I think they need to look internally first and solve those. And I feel like any kind of products with probiotics is a great start.
Awesome. Awesome advice. And yeah, because I feel like it's just your skin, your face. Obviously, that's something that it brings you a sense of confidence when you feel like your body isn't sort of like rebelling against you in a way, right? Like you're like, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? And it's really comforting to hear that kombucha and like through this tea like that you feel good. Now tell me, when people hear sort of the typical energy drink, right? You're like, "Oh, Monster energy drink." And I'm not trying to like hate on brands or anything. I'm just saying you hear mixed things about like, "Oh, is that good for you?" Like obviously with the story you just told, you're very conscious of ingredients.
Hmm.
So tell me about what's in it, your favorite flavors. Obviously, there's 3 different flavors, and just give me the whole product tour of what's inside, and Cameron too, tell me about the design and how you came up with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think with these products, I mean, these were all like these are my first flavors I homebrewed. So we started with the apple cinnamon. That was like the most popular flavor. And then
Okay.
we added the blueberry vanilla and the lemon ginger. So we kind of have a flavor for like every time of the year,
Cool.
fall time.
Yeah.
The blueberry is kind of like winter, spring, and then the lemon ginger is like a refreshing summer. I use the lemon ginger a lot. Like if I felt like a little groggy or sick or need something refreshing, like it was just a really good combination to help me feel better. The blueberry is just incredibly tasty, and it's got like the antioxidants from the blueberries, which is great. And then the apple cinnamon is just like nostalgic for me. Like I love apple pie, like apple flavored things. My grandmother made an amazing apple pie, so it's just like it just like feels good. Like it's just like you smell it and you're like, ah, it feels homey. So I love that. Yeah, the kombuchas, we use that as a base. That whole thesis for why kombucha is great. Kombucha is also it's naturally acidic. So when you ferment it, it produces, it lowers the pH. So instead of like for energy drinks, they'll usually have carbonated water as a base. And then they use citric acid, lactic acid, some kind of artificial acids to naturally lower the pH and make it acidic. So kombucha is naturally that way. That's how the whole fermentation process happens, which makes it the best base for a beverage that's carbonated. So that's why we use that. And then you mentioned energy drinks. We hate on energy drinks too. I think there's so much better alternatives. And that's kind of our number one op right now.
Yeah.
And I think,
Well, then,
they
hey,
use like
let's hate on
circular.
these drinks.
Yeah, that was good to me. And because I think there's so many like the product market has innovated so much, and I feel like people are. I just created a skit this morning where I like kind of want to like the stereotypical energy drink person that like wakes up. They're like, oh, I doom scrolled till 2 a.m. and I got 4 hours of sleep, and I'm just gonna solve it with energy drink. And you just get like amped up, and then your heart rate's up, and then you're anxious, and you're like, oh my god, why do I feel like so just like it's like
Like, I'm gonna
you're
die.
putting a Band-Aid on it. Like, let's go back to the thesis in general, where it's like, okay, well, let's solve the issues, not solve the alternative of the issues and just patch it up and fix it, push it off. So I feel like this really goes back to like that thesis of starting from the base and then building up. So instead of artificial sugars, instead of cane sugar, it's zero sugar and then we add back honey. So honey is the main sugar source for our product. The total sugar in these is 8 grams, so it's about 5 or 6 grams of honey. And then the other sugar is just from fruit juice. It's just straight, juice concentrate that we source. So this is apple juice concentrate, blueberry juice, and lemon. That's kind of like how we don't want to put that good sugar forward. We don't think sugar's, bad. It's not for everyone if they're, have some sort of like diabetes or, there's things that require less sugar. But I think, at a basis, if you see a beverage that's like 0 calories, zero sugar, and it tastes amazing, there's probably a reason why it tastes good. And and it might be destroying your gut health, and it might be destroying your body because it's like
Yeah.
using not, artificial additives to get those macros to look good, but it's actually not doing you any good. So that's kind of the base. And then one special thing we did with this product is we kind of really wanted like a functional additive. Like, how do we make this product where you actually like feel something? We know it's healthy for you, but I feel like it's, you know, like when you have that morning coffee or you have, I don't know, something where you're like, you have it and you feel an effect. Like, I
Mhm.
love that cause and effect. especially with new products where you really feel like you're getting something out of it. So we added a number of supplements in the product. We have alpha GPC, we have L-theanine, we have lion's mane, we have ginseng, we have zinc, a lot of like really good nootropics and adaptogenics to kind of just help you like naturally calm down, naturally focus. They're all, stuff that will help your brain without having caffeine be like the main reason you're drinking a product. So it makes you healthy, it makes you focus, and it really is a productive, healthy beverage. So that's kind of the thesis for what's
That's
in the product and why we're doing it.
it's a fantastic thesis. Well, and then Cameron, why does it look so amazing? That's where you come in.
Yeah. So we had a original design
Uh-huh.
and it was really beautiful. It really was.
Uh-huh.
But I realized like I was sitting inside of a Starbucks and I was trying to make something that like kind of fit like, that whole aesthetic that we were going for originally. And I realized how like hard it was to go down the design path that we were going down. Before it was more like I would describe it as vineyard viney old money and very like, it looked expensive in my opinion. And
Yes,
I
okay.
I knew that we wanted to get this to everybody because I think
Yeah.
it's super important. We both have health journey stories and Mason trying to fixing his acne and having that be provided to people. You can't eliminate, a large group of people. And I think that's what our original product did. And I wanted to change it so we could fit a lot larger group of people.
Yeah.
Like to keep it the two color scheme so
Uh-huh.
that there's nothing that would like take you away. I think a lot of drinks, the design ends up being like very muttered and messy and they're all over the place. And I wanted something super simplistic that everybody could understand. And so we got the apple pie, we got the blueberry vanilla, and then the lemon ginger, all two color scheme. And I think that keeping it simple allows your eye and allows it to stand out in a very busy world. Like we're trying to break away from the noise, and I think keeping it simple is exactly how you do that. But yeah, I wanted to create something that would be both simple to work with, simple for people to understand, and it really is simple ingredients that just help you.
Yeah.
So the whole thesis comes together.
I'm not just brown nosing and like kissing up. I genuinely love, like, I'm just staring at the cans. I love how you did it because my eye goes to, Divini, divine, strong, and then you see the flavor. Like you said, when you look at any kind of bottles, there is so much. And so it's a really it's easy on the eyes. I
Yeah.
really like it. I am not a designer, but in my other job, I'm a content writer and I'm paired with designers. And so they're like when I'll like on a PowerPoint, I'll be like, "Hey, I'll try this." And they're like, "Oh, Brie, that's cute." I'm like, "Look, I did it. See?" And they're like, "You did good, Brie. It was good." And then when they do it, I'm like, "Damn, that's so good." Whoa. So I have such appreciation for what goes into the design of a brand and like of a can. And then you're thinking about how it feels in your hand and what it looks like. And like, there's just probably just hundreds and hundreds of hours went into what we're looking at in front of
Yeah,
you.
a lot of renditions, yeah, and honestly, the ones even in front of you are not the final, like the very, very final one has like a very minute changes, but that will be
Yeah.
in can, yeah.
Well, Cameron, can you, if you don't mind, sharing anything about your health journey and any adversity that you've been through, or anything that comes to mind that the drink has helped you with?
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you to this guy. Oh my gosh, thank you, this guy. I'll say, yeah, I used to be a fat meatball, very, very large human being, and life was good. It was very convenient because I would just talk about this in a video, but like when you're heftier, I was like 247 pounds. You can go out and eat whatever you want. You can go out with friends and do whatever you want. It's very convenient. But then long term wise, the aftermath of, having that convenience, you don't feel good. You feel one, you have like a lingering unconfidence. Two, you're obviously like, you're a lot slower in the mind. Like I was not quick to think on a lot of things. And I think breaking, and getting rid of the excess weight allowed me to think better. And why this drink ties into that is because our drink inherently is for your health. It's good for your gut health. And I think my gut health before was messed up. Like I would have major, major issues. Like I'm backed up, the aqueduct is not flowing type.
Listen, we keep it real, and that is a really important part of life, and that's not good when it's backed up. Like, it affects everything.
Absolutely.
This makes me
You
you're just
got
mad.
you're yeah, mad all the time.
It's a
Uh,
shitty situation.
Right. And like I think if you can get this mind and this mind right, you are gonna be unstoppable. I don't know if you've ever had like issues or do you drink kombucha or anything?
You know, I have a case on the way that's ordered. I haven't typically been a kombucha drinker, but I'm
Okay, yeah.
very open to it.
Yeah, that seems to
Yeah,
be like people have like, "Oh yeah, I tried it like one time,"
they
or
don't.
like they don't. I think that's a other thesis behind like the whole brand image. I don't know why all these kombucha companies, they literally limit the amount of people they could sell. They go for that holistic, the people that are already into it, and
Yeah.
all the people that we've had try our drink love it, and then those people are not marketed to. It's like they would literally buy this drink. Like it's crazy.
So it's typically like very high-end drink for like maybe it's like a high price point, right? And it's like maybe you were saying it was just a different it's not available to the masses is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Not necessarily like it's a high price point drink, but more or less this promoted to a market where they were like a yogi holistic, very like into that already,
Right.
very all the way scale wellness person. And like that's great. You know, they're probably feeling
Feel
fantastic. You know what I mean? They're like, theying backflips and they can bend
yeah.
it, do all their stuff. But like
What
I
about
think yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what about like everybody else that if you did give it to them, now the working class person, if you give something that also helps their entire body, I mean, that day will just feel much, 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 much better.
thank you again for sharing that because I know it's not easy to share something from your personal life and you guys are open and I appreciate that, but I don't take it lightly when someone shares something that they've overcome. And I know just like weight and health it's obviously a huge issue in our country, specifically. I mean, around the world, but specifically the US. So I guarantee you, someone listening is like, wow, he struggled with his weight. Wow, he got through it. Wait, maybe I can turn this around.
Yeah. I feel like in the US, everybody is so like driven. They're so, they want to make it out. I feel like that's like a big consensus. But like imagine if everybody in the US was healthy, how unstoppable will be. I think a lot of people are muttered because of the fact that they are unhealthy and they end up getting like really lazy because,
Yes.
apparently like if you can't be moving around, like you're gonna be slow. And imagine if you were healthy at the same time, we would like, oh my God, we'd go crazy.
It's when you feel like shit, you can't when I feel like shit, like it's paralyzing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
The day
paralyzing
you eat a
physically.
big burrito, the day's over, you know?
I know. My husband will be like, "Oh, I'm done." I'm like, "Great. I'll
Yeah.
take care of everything." But, like, sweet. No, but it paralyzes you physically, mentally, emotionally when you feel not confident, you feel heavy, your mood, right? So, it sounds like if you were to wake up or have one of these throughout the day, you're not gonna be like, you're not
No.
it's because you guys have been there and you know that that sucks.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, again, so let's just solve problems. Let's get a society where we're like looking around us. And I really like how you were talking earlier about, if you really want to get out of something, you take yourself outside the situation, outside of yourself, and like look from a third person perspective, and you know take all the problems that I feel like you can get a really good case study based off of your own circumstances, your friends, your family, and like solve a lot of problems by just like instead of looking at yourself, just look around.
You know, it's so 'cause I was telling John on episode 90, sometimes I'm like, "I'm so sick of myself." Like, I'm like, "I don't want like, can I help?" I'm tired of trying to help myself, like, help yourself, work on yourself. It's like, what can I do that will help other people? And then like a byproduct of that is, oh, I just help myself, like, right? And
Absolutely.
like, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense where you're like, wait, help other people to help yourself. And it's like, no, I think that's the trick actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you're gonna wanna help in a way that's you're called I feel like you're called to causes that you can understand the pain,
Mhm.
right? You guys know, like, what a drink like this can the problems that it can solve because you felt the pain of those problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you look around and not only you see it from yourself, but yeah, you look around, go to any gas station, go to any and most kombucha products they're sold in Whole Foods, they're sold in natural grocers, they're
Yeah.
sold in Sprouts. Or, how do we get this product to everyday consumers that are buying 24 packs of Coke and, 24 pack of Monster and Red Bull off the shelf and having that in like their house. Like that's what they're having their kids on their grab and go beverage, or like, I feel like, it's an aspect of like you're kind of bred up in environments, obviously you're so heavily influenced by your family and
Yeah.
what gets into the house. And I feel like food and beverage is a obvious standpoint. A lot of mothers are called to, hey, what are we bringing into our house? What are we feeding our kids? And, kind of reclaiming power of your own house and
Yeah.
authority of, what you're teaching your kids of how to consume things properly. And then having, some freedom to, hey, maybe let's start cooking some meals together. Let's start bringing that family culture back instead of
Yeah.
going out and being unable to identify what we're consuming as a culture. So I feel like transparency is huge. I feel like, really giving people power back over their health is such a foundation for everything else in life. Because if you have health, you have a lot of power.
Yeah. Do you have any non-negotiables at your household health-wise?
I try to have like, of course they have some like the fishies and the this, right? Like, which I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I will say, like, they know that we're mixing broccoli in there, like, at some point throughout the week, and they know too, like, that what I'm trying to do. I have a 4th grader and a 2nd grader, boy and a girl, and I'm like, "Okay, for the girl, I'm like, I don't want you to, like, be obsessed with your body image, but I want you to be conscious of your health, but, like, own
Yeah.
your body, but, like, don't, like, be aware, but not too aware." And then for the guy, like, whatever, but be strong, it's like you have these things. So for me, it's like, I don't wanna forbid and be like, "You will never," but it's like, I'm trying to teach them, like, what's a balance of, like, "Hey, we went out for pizza last night. We're not gonna, like, have candy for breakfast," like, or sometimes we're like, "No to dessert," just balance, but I don't want them to feel
Like
like
pressure.
there's a lock on the cabinet, or you know what I mean? But also, it's a great point. The people with the buying power, that's what you're bringing in. The kids are like, you I get so sad when you see kids that are super overweight because it's just like, it's hard. Like,
Yeah, it's not like they're going to the grocery store and
they're
choosing
not.
everything.
And I'm also not, like, shaming the parents either. I'm just like, what they might be struggling with their health too, and then what's available and what at what price, and, so it's a great question, and I think, like, as I get older and I start to realize the value of, like, your health, not just from an aesthetic point of view, you start to be like, "Oh my gosh, health is, like, more than your jean size," you know? You start to be like, "Oh, I want my kids to, like, love their body," you know? You
Yeah.
want them to. One thing I gotta ask you that I love, that when I was researching you guys and, like, friendly little, like, looking at everything and just getting excited about this interview. I love the line where you said, "It's like a lifestyle and the drink is what gets you in the door to this whole way of living." And I was like, and then the drink with intention. I'm like, I love that because it's not just, and I really, now having talked to you guys, I get what you're saying, that when you pick up a can and you're drinking it, you're taking care of your body, but, like, it's about all the events that you guys put together and the brand philosophy and what you guys believe. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done so many events. We did probably 100 events in 2025 of
Amazing.
going to like college party rooftops to try to get a bunch of drunk college kids to have kombucha,
Which they did though. They
which they
really
did.
did. They're hyped up.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining to kind of go to these different events, different demographic, different age ranges of college kids to older adults to just kind of see like how people interact with products. And I don't know. I think a big piece of what we learned is like I think so many people want. It's not like we go about our daily lives. And we're like, oh, I'm gonna like ruin my body and do all these terrible things, and like people don't
I
think that way,
mean, you're trying to not be awful. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, true.
And I think it really just goes down to like, I think education is huge. A lot of people just don't know or haven't, it's not like our system schooling does a great job of like telling you how to take care of yourself and, how to prepare for a lot of parts of life. And health is definitely one of those things that, you kind of just like figure out as you go, and no one really helps you and tells you what's what. So, and, look at all our products in our stores and kind of what's happened in the past 40 years since fast food started. And just look at where the money's gone, and you kind of create these paper trails to see, it's just like, it's not necessarily, it could be bad things in some ways, but I think it's just a natural cycle of like, hey, we were trying to solve how to make food cheaper and more convenient. And we solved that, but it came with some casualties and
Yeah.
some bad parts of it. So I think it just takes, you know, every generation is trying to figure out how to, you know, reverse some stuff and create opportunities from what is. And I think we've just, yeah, seen a big thing through talking to people. And we really just want to have people think more and drink intentionally and do things intentionally, and not only in our beverage, but in how you do life. You know, if you're working at a job, or you're in a career, or you're in a relationship and you're like, wow, this isn't really good for me. It's like, that's not intentional. You know, you need to you kind of take some emotions out of the situation and really, to your point again, look from things from a third party perspective and really understand whether these things are good for you or not, and be honest with yourself. And if they're not, then they probably need to be changed, because, you know, you don't want to live like that. And you have control over that over the end of the day. No one else is going to tell you, you know, people can guide you and people can speak to you, but it's really up to you at the end of the day. And, you know, everyone's trying to reach this like homostasis in life where they're happy, healthy, and, you know, doing all these things that you think. And, you know, everyone has different ways of going about it. So it's really that kind of self journey you got to figure out for yourself. But there's things that you can do to make it a lot easier and make it more practical and more fun.
Yeah.
Love that. No, I mean, I feel like that was just sort of a pep talk for me too. Like looking at my life, I'm like looking at every area of your life, what you're consuming, both like food, drinks, who's in your life, your friends, like what are you watching? Where are you going? Like what are you breathing in your house? Like how are it's intentional. And
Hmm.
I love that you guys like are so authentic and genuine, because it's just it's comforting to know that, because you hear such horror stories about the food industry and what's in all their food, and then you start meeting people like you guys that are like, guys, this is intentionally everything's in there. And like it's just refreshing to know that there's founders like you who really care about people and like what they're putting in their bodies, you
Yeah.
know? It's
It's like reflection of like we care about what we put in our bodies, so why would we not for everybody? Like if I wouldn't drink this, I wouldn't sell it, you know. That's the type of thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
The things that you
Yeah.
know deep
That
down that you'd represent
that's like that
consumers. So
McDonald video of like the founder, or not the founder, the owner of McDonald's. He didn't like really want to eat the snack.
No.
See that video?
Yeah,
And
I
he's
saw something like they're just like,
yeah,
yeah, he's
like
like,
that's like the crazy thing to me. That's crazy.
yeah, like, all right, you know, you're gonna step into that role, like freaking down a Big Mac.
Yeah,
Like, let's see it.
eat like 5, 10 of them.
Like,
seriously.
let's see you own it. So
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
tell
I
me
think
about,
that's
yeah.
always like the person creating something.
Oh, no, you have to, right? Like, and it's coming from it, the you keep talking about, which I love, sort of this foundation, this base. Like, if you think about your gut as the base of your health, right, or part of it, you think about like the base of your company being you two and the vision. Like everything comes out of that, you know. And so, let me ask you this: what are you most excited about in the next half of 2026 for Divini?
I mean, I I'm definitely. I mean, personally, I'm most excited about you know, things as accessibility. Like, we've been trying to create this ideology and this product for so long, and now we've finally come to like a base product that we're happy to and able to, like, you know, start getting out there in like bigger
Yeah,
quantities and more systematically. You know, it's sure, you might, you know, wanna have a lot of, you know, good things in your life, but it's hard when you have to like do all your sourcing online, and now you have like 20 different buyers you're trying to get those ingredients from, and next thing you know, your bill is 2 grand for the month off wellness products. It's like, you know, no one wants that. You want it to fit into your schedule and make sense. I think, I mean, for me, I'm just excited to put a better product into, you know, kind of a system where people go in their everyday lives. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is Divini.
yeah,
Like to have people go, you know, in the shelf or in their local store and see our product and be like, oh my God, I just got, you know, I think I did good by, you know, getting the sandwich or getting something as opposed to like something else I would get. And now I'm thirsty. Like, I could get a soda, and okay, now let's transition. That's the next step. You know, we really want our product to be that introductory to the
mm,
health in a culture that's not primarily might be that way. So if you have a tasty product that you know
yeah.
is healthy, that's a good catalyst for change.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for like being surrounded by more people that are passionate. Like I think that like we've got a great group of people here in Arizona, but I know that the more we expand, the more fruitful and the amount of people that we'll meet that are passionate, you know. I want to see that. So I'm excited to expand to meet more people, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you through this podcast, I hope and know that you're gonna get a few customers here because I feel like for many reasons, right? Like you guys, you have a vision to help people. You have a great product. And I've also been looking at, you can even look on your Instagram when you see people sampling it, like in some of those older videos, people genuinely like at these running events are taking it and they're like, damn, this is good. Like you're not getting your typical Monster Energy sort of nastiness. It's a totally different experience of a drink that can help you. So I'm glad that you guys are going for it.
You, you just gave me an idea that I think we should sit 4 people and they talk to each other while drinking a Monster, and then compare to talking to each other while drinking Divini. That's good. That's a good idea, actually.
Please. I mean, there's so I feel like
Like, see the difference between the
do it.
conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, and I really like when I saw those videos, I'm like, people are tasting it and they're genuinely having this reaction. And it's like a hot day and they're running, and this is like refreshing,
Yeah.
like this is so no. And again, we're coming up to the top of the hour, flying by here, but I want to give you guys a chance to just leave us with any parting words. Like if somebody on the other end of their AirPods or they're listening to this while they're cleaning or whatever, what do you when you're going through a tough time and you're going through adversity and you've learned obviously through this whole venture, through your lives leading up to this point, do you have any advice for anyone who might be struggling out there on the other end?
I would say don't stay in situations that you know aren't good for you. And if you really want to do something, at the end of the day, it's up to you to do it. I think there's so many people in this world, and I guarantee you, there's there's 1 to 10 things in everyone's life that are like, I mean, I really want to do that, and then it's just like, and then there's all those things. I think it's so important to just create those non-negotiables, and then talk to trusted people and really like game plan, strategize, like really plan things intentionally. I think you can get so much done in a year, 6 months, 2 months, 1 month. I think a lot of people underestimate how much you can do in time. Um, just start doing what you know is good for you and right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think you are what you consume. You are what you think you are, and that person that you want to be, you can be it as long as you move forward and become that person now. I think life is about walking through the fire and then eventually enjoying the fire that you're walking through.
Mm.
Won't feel it won't feel as bad as you continue to walk forward. You'll get hard into it.
That was so good. I really genuinely love both of those answers. It's beautiful because I know that you guys, I know it's not easy. And I know, looking at, you can see these 3 cans. Oh, wow, you have a company. I know that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go on to build a company. And I think on behalf of all the people that you have helped, that you're going to help through drinking this and through sort of just the lifestyle of like doing things with intention and everything your brand represents, just wanted to thank you
Thank
because
you.
yeah, I mean, you're doing a really good thing in the world. And I think your success will be like a byproduct of all the ways that you're helping people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. I appreciate that. Is there any mission statement or anything that comes to mind for you?
Yeah. I want to hear
For
The
for
station?
you,
No,
for
you.
for your life. Yeah. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I love I've been in the hot seat on this.
Uh,
I want to you guys are inspiring me to there's a few things I want to do with the podcast that I'm a little scared to try where I'm like, "No, but I can't really do that." That's for like the big podcasters or like that's too, I want to get into like inspirational merchandise and like inspired by quotes from my guests. I have
Okay.
a whole vision in my mind. I'm just too scared to do it. I don't know cuz it's, you just are like, I can't. What if no one
Mm,
buys it? But you're like,
right.
"No, actually I'm getting," when you said, Cameron, starting to enjoy the fire or like, I'm like, "Wait, it's kind of exciting to take that on, but can I do it? What if it inspires someone?" And it's kind of like so you guys are pushing me to keep evolving in the way that Divini is evolving. So,
That's great. I
I
love
guess
that.
I've got a lot to do now.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye out on that. I want to see it.
Well, I mean, we're partners now, You guys are in my show notes, and you guys are like the first sponsor. So you will forever be in my heart as so special. I really, honestly, I could cry. Like it just means so much to me. So
That's
yeah,
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Well, guys, okay, now I'm going back into like I'm like about to cry. I want to, oh, my dog just closed the door. I want to wrap up the episode by letting you guys know to go into the show notes if you haven't already. We've got livedivini.com. We've got discount codes in the show notes. We've got a link to your Instagram. We've got all the links that you're going to send me after this that you want me to include. And I would love to have you guys back for the next round of stories, because we know that you're kind of just going through adversity every day and handling it. You know, it's what you
Ne-
do.
well, next milestone, we're definitely back. We got you.
Okay. All right.
And
Thank
then,
you.
then we'll have you on when you have your whole merch line and everything. We'll put it up on the screen. You know what I'm
Okay. All right.
saying?
I'm scared, but I'll do it. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. In the next year, I'm getting merch.
Boom.
Maybe even the next 90 days. Let's time box this. A year
Let's
is
do it.
too long.
Yeah.
Merch is fun. Merch makes
Yeah,
it
merch is
real.
fun.
And actually, the barrier to entry is not as bad as you think. I mean, we
It's
made
easy.
for these shirts. I mean, we just got some blanks. We found a company locally. We did a print, and
I know.
all of our events we went to were just like, hey, we also have shirts, and people bought them. You know, if people really like what you do, and if again, it's all storytelling. If you can storytell, and you have such a great story to tell with why you started this, and with the what these people say, and I'm
Yeah.
sure so many great quotes that you've heard from people, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that like people like wearing symbols that represent their lives.
Oh.
It's like wearing armor.
Yeah.
Like I want to wear things on my body that make me redefine and reinstill who I am as a person. So I feel like that's such a powerful thing you can do with clothing in general. So I feel like your mindset for why you want to do that's, I think, a great spot.
Well, I think I see a sweatshirt with definitely what you said, Cameron, about walking through the fire. I'll get the quote, but it's happening.
Yeah, I want to wear it.
You're like, no, you can't wear it. Everybody else can, but you can't. You're like, I said it. Well, guys, I thank you again. I'm wrapping up, and this Divini, check it out. Check it out. Drink it. Drink with intention, all the things. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. This is going live tomorrow.
Let's go. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Bye-bye. Take care. All right, I stopped.